Lawo asashintshe kwakhiwe ama-government hospitals or educational centers. And we must not be shy to talk about some of these things, because the message must get to Mswati. Because as soon as we are shy talking about it, he will not have an idea of what we want to do. And we may not necessarily divulge everything. But such things must happen. Issues of land. Lamaplazi, lamakhulu, manje lasaluthwako, for whatever reason. Let that land get back to the people. Let them farm. And make profits through commercial means. After the maplazi. And there's nothing happening on that one. We also have an issue, our women and people living with disabilities in Swaziland. I really don't understand what's the difficulty in taking care of women, young children, and people living with disabilities. Not only in terms of grant, also in terms of providing services that are going to be conducive for their well-being. They are part of us. It becomes the way forward because of time, Chair. Shitawusile content is much broader than that. And I decide some of these things, Balile comrade, one day, SG, put them. Ayikho inkululeko lesitayithola if we are going to be sarcastic politically or use what I call diplomatic sarcasm. Lokubhekana within the political formations that are fighting for one goal. We're not going to win this. If we do, it will be a mile and a half to achieve that. I'm running away from using the word unity because it becomes monotonous in the minds and hearts and ears of many. But in short, we need to come together. Especially amongst ourselves. I know with the road to liberation will be cut and even way shorter if we were to strengthen this area. And if we are saying Swaziland must be truly democratic, let us not use that concept of democracy to fight amongst each other even before liberation comes. Let us not lie to ourselves and say that we are doing what we are doing because we are practicing an upcoming democratic setup. There are elements that let's unite in the Maswati. That is why it's very difficult to answer the question, what would be a possible unified national ideology? Can't answer that question. It's here, let us unify because the different ideologies are there.
Athi la mabutho mane asangikhohlwa ukuthi ngiyiphi le nkosi, but not lekhashane kakhulu. Ibhunu athi uthi ukhiphe impi ibhunu emabutho ajikijela phansi emahawu netikhali athi thatha letikhali emahawu lawo netikhali unike bafati bakho nebantu bakho nihambe niyolwa leyo mpi leyo. Those were independent people, which means we were never slaves. If lendlela namuhla leseyirana ongayimona is as if thine we are slaves of war. You know, umuntu leniyana empini akuhlule athi angakuhlula athi ngine option yokubulala but angeke ngikubulawe, you are going to be my slaves of war. So every time mhla nikhumbuta ukuthi hey ningabophapha phela ngikukhumbula nganisinzisa nganiyekela nganganibulali. So wagaleni lamatshe thwaleni lomhlaba ngilimeleni lamasimama khumbulani nganisida nganganibulali. We were never slaves of the Dlaminis or the royal house. We are independent and powerful people who agreed or who became part. Of course, the process was never sweet one. The process of nation building is a process of violence, annihilation, and annexation. But view, honestly speaking, and this is my personal view, we will lose nothing. Actually, we stand a lot to gain. The Maswati are one of the most principled people, hardworking people. If we had an opportunity to run a government, sinemathuba lamahle of becoming one of the most successful African states and a model. If you look at Mauritius, if I take in the words of democratic and professional one, today, Mauritius is a first world country, and it is here in Africa. And in size, it is almost our size, if not even smaller than us. But because of good governance, it is one of the leading economies in Africa. So sine chance, Chairperson, of being one of the best countries in the world. If, only if, we address the issue of governance. We have resources. We have a very good, well-cultured people. Ayasebenza Maswati. Ayatiba nefita Dlanzana. Leli Dlanzana basebukhosini bondle betkanyelanga. Nalabo ke botsotsanyana lasebakhona. Otherwise, the rest of us were made to be respected.
Thank you. Over to you, Dr. Spetro.
No, thanks, Chairpersons. Yeah, no, what an example. DJ Clee. Maybe umuntu akaqale ngekuphendula le question bese elaborate as a way of supporting my response to the question. What is so special about the monarchy, such that we might find some sort of reluctance in coexisting? Paraphrasing it. My response to that one is a simple nothing. There's nothing special about the monarchy. And I will give you the reasons why. It is true, Singedo. We agreed because we're able to conceptualize. Now, without impala and a hyena, it's not possible for the lion to become the king of the jungle. I want to draw a context using this example again. We'll see. Impala is capable wendani, ne hyena is capable wendani. Uyabona lokho hyena nasekufuna ukuhleka kumeka shows when the justice. Hyenas are very dangerous animals, and to some extent, if they come together, a lion is nothing. And of course, the characteristics of laughing at the lion once it's down. Impala ke or timbala, they have a tendency to multiply. And when they multiply, they become uncontrollable in as much as they can be the weaker animals compared to the other ones, to the the stronger ones. Now, who the special again, lobukhona monarchy, because of this first reason. But the second one, comrade, one day there is a political theorist by the name of Niccolo Machiavelli, who wrote much of his work, during the Renaissance period. And his famous book is called The Prince. He asked the question, which is better, to fear or to love the prince? In this case, the king. And the response that he comes up with, Uti Manje, it is better, of course, to be feared than to be loved. Because when people fear you, they are bound to do what you say. The king has adopted or has forever adopted the principle or the idea of wanting to be feared by the people of Swaziland. And Maswati it has worked only until recently, where the king can be called whichever name. You can. Uvete an identity yakho. He has become the most disrespected individual in the country, meaning the element of fear that he was trying to use has died and disappeared to oblivion. And emaswati akasekho lapho. This simply means Machiavelli is wrong on his statement, or whatever you want to call it. There is nothing that we can basically look forward to into a monarchy, again, for this last reason. There's a perception, Maswati Lamahle, kwekuthi yonke lento lena ye-culture, lesibhaca, netindlamu, nencwala, and all the likes, was founded by the royalty. This is a fallacy, and we must move away from associating these beautiful events with the king or with the royalty. To some extent, he leads them. But letin for the Maswati. And a Maswati must say, we can't have umhlanga without you because this thing is ingrained in us as part of our culture. Angeke sithi ngoba sekune democracy asasifuna isibhaca asisafuna umhlanga. Wala singayi debate ngoba inetinkinga tayo. But overall, most of the events like cultural, they belong to a Maswati, not a Mswati. What else ke lesingakufuna ku monarchy lesicabanga ukuthi kungasita for us to coexist? Because kumhlulile ukuthi si coexist. Lastly, Chairperson, it is for that reason again, the Swaziland Liberation Movement came with point 10 of its liberation charter. That says there shall be a recognition of traditional structures and upholders of cultural customs and heritage. Let me say that again. There shall be a recognition of traditional structures and upholders of cultural customs and heritage. Because we are simply saying all these beautiful traditional structures, the kings, your Mamba kings and all the like, your Masegos, you name them, they do not belong to the king or the royalty, but they are engraved in us. And therefore, we cannot then attain democracy and do away with this. We still need to uphold to the principle of respect. And that of John Beatty, when he said, Mundu Mundu Ngabantu, we want that culture that we all will. It's not in the throne, like a palace, Yamswan. And of course, this describes our cultural identity as a Maswati, which is owned not by Mswati, but by the people of Swaziland, as infringed on Swalimo's Liberation Charter, Chapter 10. Point 10. Chairperson Maswati Lamahle, I have nothing as a response kwekuthi singakufuna ku-monarchy, especially from the monarch itself, because we have it, it belongs to us. After all, there is no monarch without the people. Hence, without impalas and hyenas, the lion cannot be the king of the jungle. Thank you very much, Chairperson. Ngiyabonga Maswati.